right, it is Thursday, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects: government media obfuscation lies. Today's presentation is entitled The Assault Rifle Lie Destroyed. By the time this is over, you will agree that it has been destroyed. Lovers of freedom, patriots. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of different segments, if you will, regarding this subject. Please, if you have liberal friends who don't get it, take notes, write down some of the numbers. I'll repeat them several times. It's important. There's way too much going on now for anyone to even think of agreeing to something like another so-called assault weapons ban, which of course definitions are important. Changing things, changing words, confusing people is how these tyrants function. That's what they do. They have people that are experts in mind manipulation. Okay, they know the keywords. They know how to use your emotions and get you to believe whatever they want you to believe. What's going on right now, vis-a-vis the pandemic, etc., is a perfect example of this. Subject for another day. Right now, we're going to talk about the assault rifle lie because it's important. Because again, right now, if any time, ever in history, it's been important to be prepared. And I think you can all figure out where I'm going with that. It's now. So we're going to assume that all of the shootings, the mass shootings, Las Vegas, etc., that have been going on for, let's just say 4 decades, 3.5, 4 decades, at least back to 1990, roughly, if not before. We're going to assume that all of these were exactly as they were reported. They were literally, some not going off and shooting a bunch of people. I have information that to the contrary of that, subject for another presentation again. So for this presentation, we're just going to go ahead and assume that those things are real, exactly as reported. So if we go back to World War II, there were implements that were capable of long-range fire, heavy guns on both sides. M1 Garand, fantastic weapon, 3.6, 8-shot, 11 plus pounds, very heavy ammunition, 30-6 ammunition. You start talking about carrying, a lot of that. It's heavy, effective weapon at near and long range, obviously, but certainly 600 yards not an issue. So what they found was that really we needed something. Infantry needed something lighter, capable of medium range shooting accuracy, effective medium range, and capable of full automatic fire, select fire capability, single shot, full automatic, or possibly burst option. So anyway, the first one was the STG-44, Germany, 40s. I think it was about, I'm going to say 43 or 44, right around there during the war. And shortly thereafter, in 1948, Kalashnikov developed the AK-47. Anatoly Kalashnikov developed the AK-47, 7.62 by 39, and the STG-44 was a 7.9 millimeter, so it was an 8 millimeter round, slightly longer, but it was an 8 millimeter, so the AK-47 came along as 7.62 by 39. And of course, then we move forward a few years, not less than 20 years, and the development of the M16, after which many NATO nations agreed that this is the way to go, to have a lightweight weapon capable of full automatic fire and medium range effectiveness. You didn't need a rifle that would reach out to 1,000 yards on the battlefield. There are other weapons that would take care of those kinds of problems, save for the snipers, of course, but regardless of that, the need was roughly 1,000 feet range, 300 yards, 330 yard range. So most of the NATO nations adopted some sort of assault rifle, and that is the definition. We go point by point on it. Galil, AK, M16, etc. There's a couple other popular ones throughout the NATO alliance. So the definition, very important, the definition of an assault rifle, as opposed to the term that these tyrants use, where they confuse people with the term assault weapon. Okay, what that is about confusion, because people don't hear the difference. They think when someone says assault weapon, they think they're talking about an assault rifle. And an AR-15 is not an assault rifle. A civilian semi-automatic AK-47 is not an assault rifle. They call it an assault weapon to confuse people, scare people, because they also try to make you think that this is a scourge on our nation, that these things are constantly being used to kill people, which part of the lie that we're going to expose here in a few minutes. Give it time. The definition of an assault rifle. An assault rifle, number one, must be capable of selective fire, which means it is capable in one mode of shooting a bullet for every trigger pull, which is technically semi-automatic. It is also capable of fully automatic fire. That means you hold down that trigger and that magazine empties very rapidly. Many of them also have an option of a burst, a tri-burst, 3-shot burst. I think some even have more. So that's one of the definitions. First definition, full automatic fire, select fire. That separates it from the AR, separates it from the civilian AK, separates it from all those things. Intermediate power cartridge. The 7.6239 AK SKS cartridge would be an example. Obviously, the 223 5.56 NATO, 5.56 millimeter NATO would be another example of that medium range cartridge. It's not a 308. It's not a 30-06. Not a 7 millimeter mag. No, it's not a 338 mag. It is a medium power cartridge. Has to have a detachable box magazine. Pretty self-explanatory there. You fill up a magazine, put it on, shoot till it's empty, you drop it off, and you put another one on. That's a detachable box magazine for all of those who don't know. Minimum effective range of 330 yards, 300 meters, 1,000 feet, whatever, however you want to classify it. So that's the definition of an assault rifle now. Rifle. So along comes Bill Clinton in 1994, before the elections of November, in which the other side, the Republican side, took the House and Senate, vis-a-vis Newt Gingrich leading the way. Bobby Ehrlich in Maryland was one of the victors in November of that year. I know a lot about that. Election fraud, Ellen Sauerbrey. Great subject for another day. We're definitely going to do that one. All right, so 94, Clinton comes along, and they propose an assault weapon ban. And again, to be clear, they did use a different word. They didn't use the word assault rifle because they're not stupid. They have handlers, they have intelligent people working for them, but they knew that people would think that they were talking about the same thing. All right? They knew people would think that they were talking about fully automatic weapons. That's what they do. They obfuscate, they lie, and they confuse people on purpose. So the definition that they used as an assault weapon must have 2 or more of the following features: a folding or telescoping stock. Boy, that has a lot to do with how the gun fires. What bullets it fires, rate of fire, caliber, has a lot to do with that, doesn't it? Pistol grip. there's another thing that really makes a gun more dangerous is the type of grip it has. A bayonet mount? Well, I just saw the other day on the news there were like 20 bayonettings in one city in 10 minutes. And bayonets are a real problem. A flash suppressor, something that makes a muzzle flash, let's say you're shooting at night, makes it less visible. What in the world does that have to do with people dying? Or a grenade launcher. Again, I just heard in the news the other day there was a couple of grenade incidents around the country using grenade launchers. So they lied then. The law did absolutely nothing. By the way, Ronald Reagan supported that heinous act of violation of the Second Amendment. Infringement. 2017 review. No evidence that the ban had a significant effect on firearm homicides. I repeat, no evidence that the ban, which I believe it was grandfathered out in 2004, 10 years after, 2017 review, no evidence that the ban had a significant effect on firearm homicides. 2014 Oxford University Press. There is no compelling evidence that the ban saved lives. 2014 Oxford University Press. There is no compelling evidence that the ban saved lives. 2004 National Institute of Justice. If ban was renewed, the effects on gun violence would be too small to measure. 2004 National Institute of Justice. If the ban was renewed, the effects on gun violence would be too small to measure. That is Bill Clinton's 1994 assault weapons ban, and Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer. You know the crowd. We're very familiar with you guys. Rifles, any and all rifles, single shot, semi-auto, lever action, pump action, bolt action. They're not the gun of choice for people that kill people with firearms. That gun is an inexpensive handgun. These incidents happen almost always. Very large majority of them happen in urban areas with guns that are obtained illegally. They try to get around the definition again by saying it's an assault weapon, not an assault rifle. This is obfuscation. This is doublespeak. This is Orwellian bullshit. People are manipulated by the media and want to be tyrants on this issue. People use their emotions rather than logic and thinking, and they refuse to spend any time doing research like I do. It's not that hard, folks. It's pretty much out there. So, the Founding Fathers, brilliant people, although they were Masons and although they had their flaws, they weren't perfect. They were brilliant people. And on December 15, 1791, the Bill of Rights, Second Amendment, and the other 9 were ratified. When they wrote the Second Amendment, guns were very different. We'll just dissect the amendment thoroughly on another program. Literally, we're going to take each phrase and explain to you exactly what they mean. And some of you are going to be surprised at some of the meanings and definitions. At least one of them is really going to surprise you. But it's true and it's accurate. If they were alive today, they would surely not expect you to defend your home and your family, your castle, your estate, with a musket. That would be ridiculous. If you miss the first time, the perp's going to have a semi-automatic pistol or whatever, and you're going to be dead while you're loading your rifle the second time for the second shot. Of course, that would be ridiculous. Nonsense. They would want everyone, the militia, which is everyone, save for the severely mentally ill and violent felons, they would want everyone to have ARs and AKs, as they are the most modern effective weapon. They would want the militia to be as powerful, effective force with the best weaponry available. I think it's pretty obvious that the founders would come back today, they would say, "Wow, our government's out of control. You guys better. We got to make sure you guys have these guns, these ARs and these AKs, whatever, and these 30-round magazines, plenty of them." All right, here's the numbers. This is the FBI Uniform Crime Report. So this is the government telling you these numbers. It's not me making them up. I can get this from the NRA. Okay, don't worry about the NRA. They're not involved here. I'm a life member of the NRA. The NRA is not involved here. This is numbers from your government. Comey, one he had at the FBI, nice guy, awesome dude. This is your government's numbers, right? That we're going to give you right here. This is part of the lie. First part of the lie is the wording and the definition, which is obviously a bunch of BS. Definition of an assault rifle is full automatic fire. They use the word assault weapon to get around it. We know the truth. An AK, civilian semi, is not an assault rifle, nor is an AR-15. In 2018, this is the FBI Uniform Crime Report again, 2018, 297 people were killed with rifles. That is not semi-automatic rifles, folks. That is all rifles. 297. That includes bolt action rifles, lever action rifles, single shot rifles, pump action rifles, and any other variant of a firearm with a longer than 18-inch barrel, which shoots a medium to high velocity bullet. A rifle. All rifles, 297. That's murders using a rifle in 2018. Rifles account for 2.9% of all gun murders in 2018. Again, that is all rifles. Every different kind of rifle. Semi-automatics are part of that group. But that's not semi-automatic rifles. That is all rifles. 2.9% of all gun murders involve rifles. In 2018, knives or sharp objects were used in 1,515 murders. Again, in 2018, knives or sharp objects were used in 1,515 murders. You are 5 times more likely to be stabbed to death or sliced to death than you are to be killed with any rifle. Any kind of rifle. Not just a semi, all of them. You're 5 times more likely to be stabbed, cut to death, than you are to be killed with any rifle. In 2018, blunt objects accounted for 443 deaths. Of course, the person accounted for the death, but a blunt object was used in 443 murders. Blunt object, 443 murders in 2018. Again, rifles, 297, all rifles. So you're 1.5 times more likely to be bludgeoned to death with a blunt object than you are to be killed by any rifle. Any and all types of rifles. Any caliber, bolt, any type, semi, whatever. Not just semi-automatics. So even a blunt object is more likely a murder weapon to be used against you than any rifle. 1.5 times. 2018. Hands, fists, feet. People getting beaten to death by being kicked and punched, elbowed in the head, whatever. Kicked. 672 murders involving basically people getting beaten to death with someone's bare hands, body parts. So 672 to 297. In 2018, you were 2.25 times more likely to be beaten to death with someone's bare hands than you were to be shot to death with any rifle. Any rifle. You were 2.25 times more likely to be beaten to death with no weapons except for hands than you were to be killed with any rifle in 2018. In 2018, there were 900 murders that involved other weapons not stated. I guess that could be a lampshade. That would be a blunt object. I don't know what would comprise a large number of those 900, but anyway, in 2018, 900 uh, weapons not stated murders. So in 2018, again, you were 3 times more likely to be killed by a weapon not stated than any type of rifle. Handguns, 2018, 6,603 murders involving handguns. Again, many of these in urban areas involving firearms that were not legally owned. 2018, 6,603 murders involving handguns. You were 22 times more likely to be killed by a handgun, with a handgun, not by a handgun. Handguns don't kill anybody. With a handgun, a person using a handgun, than you were to be killed by any rifle. 22 times more likely to be killed with a handgun than any type of rifle. As I said previously, rifles account for 2.9% of all gun murders in 2018. That would be 297 any kind of rifle to 10,265 total firearm murders. And of course, that number includes shotguns, etc., etc. But the biggest number, of course, is handguns. All right, now we're down to traffic deaths in 2018, 36,560. You were 123 times more likely to die in a car accident than be killed with any rifle in 2018. Again, 123 times more likely to be killed with any rifle, all rifles, all types combined. You're 123 times more likely to be killed in a car accident. The third leading cause of death behind heart disease and cancer in the United States is medical mistakes. The numbers are staggering. It's anywhere from 250,000 to 444,000 people die every year from medical mistakes. So it's between 250,000 and upwards of almost 500,000 people. We're going to use the intermediate number. We're going to add them together and divide by 2. We're going to use the intermediate of 345,000 for this comparison. So in this comparison, using the median number, not the low end of possible medical mistake deaths, but not the high end, but the middle ground, we're at 345,000 to 297 deaths with any kind of rifle. That means you're 1,161 times more likely to be killed by a medical mistake than you are by any rifle. That, again, 1,161 times more likely to be killed by a medical mistake than any type of rifle. The elites know these numbers. They're quite aware that rifles are not a problem. That rifles don't make our communities unsafe. No gun makes your community unsafe. A gun in the right hands makes your community safer, but rifles are not a problem. They're not used in murders. Hardly ever. Almost never. They know these numbers, Joe. You know, Nancy, Diane, Camilla, Chuck, all of them. They know they're lying. They know anyone can look up these facts. They also know that most people are too lazy to. They come home, they grab dinner and grab a beer, and they turn on the news. Okay, what are they using the internet for? Are they just watching porn all day at work? Or at home? I don't know what they're using the internet for, but it's out there. So anyway, they know this. They know that effort is required to find these facts, and most people won't put in the effort. They know that strict gun control laws make communities more unsafe. I can back this up as well, but this isn't a gun control show. This is about a particular type of weapon and the lies about just about the assault rifle. So we're going to stay on that. But they know the lie. They know that any restrictions have no effect on crime. So they know that law-abiding citizens owning semi-automatic rifles is not a problem. It is not a safety problem in our communities. It's not a safety problem in our cities. Sheriff Wayne Ivey in Brevard County, Florida, he's great. He's like, I want all my citizens to have a handgun or something with them. because that way, if some nut does start popping off, uh, he'll quickly be dispatched by 5 or 10 of my citizens. He'll be getting filled full of holes before he gets off 5 shots, maybe even 2 or 3. That's what Sheriff Wayne Ivey said down in Brevard County, Florida. I love him. He's awesome. So they know that these things aren't a problem. They know that they're not used in murders. So what's you have to ask yourself then? Why don't they want you and me to have one? That question answers itself. Stay safe. Stock up. God bless you all. Don't believe them. They couldn't tell the truth that their life depended on it, and they think you're stupid. Again, stock up and stay safe. God bless.